streaming. Hopefully we're streaming. We may never know, but it says start streaming, and hopefully we're streaming. So hello everybody, this is the Agents of Sigmar.
Hello, we've got 8 people watching. Hello everybody.
Sorry about that. Had to do a quick little technical fiddle around, something to do with resolutions or something. I didn't make any obviously this year, or haven't kept them or something. I don't know. How is everybody today? It's all Beastgrave mad.
Beastgrave, man, there's just so much news coming out of Games Workshop. It's impossible to keep up with it all.
It is absolutely crazy. We have 8 of you watching online already. Hello.
Hey, I've got 9.
Okay, well, good for you. Apologies if our audio video goes a bit out of sync still. We are still running these things on, frankly, something that resembles like a Commodore C64. So I've got my Mac from I don't know how long ago, 5 years old or something. We need to upgrade our machinery, but hopefully we'll be doing that soon with some Patreon money.
Woo! Hey!
So hello to a couple of you guys already. Martin, Dwayne, Super Fat Bastard 69. That's the best username on YouTube ever. Best username ever. Brilliant. And Malachi,
nope.
Hello.
Hello.
Some of you guys are Patreon supporters already, and thank you for that. And the rest of you are just coming in from YouTube land. Hello, hello. Hopefully you'll enjoy this little bit. So we're trying to do this every Tuesday, maybe half an hour, 45 minutes, depending on how much we've got to go through. And today we have quite a bit to go through, I think.
So about 3 hours.
Yeah, so this one's going to be at midnight. So hopefully all you guys have lots of painting stuff to be getting on with and listen to us in the background as we blizzer along. And if you got any questions, do chuck them in the channel. Do let us know. We'll see if we can answer them. I've also got, for all our Patreon supporters, we've got Discord open up for anybody who wants to chuck any questions out there in the live show chat channel as well. So, it's been mad, hasn't it? The amount of stuff GW have been throwing out. It's crazy.
Crazy. Crazy mad. What do you want to start with? What should we start with, people?
I think we should start with Token Gate.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Let's
okay.
Get out of the way. It was a bit rubbish that GW made out like they were going to make you have to buy tokens for something which was for the game, but they haven't. You can get them in there. It's fine.
That's it.
That's pretty much it. That's it.
Token Gate.
Yeah,
it's a funny one. I think it was a mistake. I don't think there was any intent on Games Workshop's part to mislead people into buying tokens that they pay, but I don't know if anybody agrees with that. I don't think they need to bother.
No.
At the end of the day.
No, I agree. I think maybe part of it was just, as we've seen in the past, some people cock stuff up. They just forget to write something down, or they misword something. They just forgot to put it in there.
Yeah, probably could have done with slightly better copy editing.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just one of those things. But I think it's funny because lots of people got outraged. I mean, lots of people didn't get outraged as well. But like, Games Workshop have regularly sold dice that you just don't need to play the game. True. Everybody goes out and buys those. Goes, I'm outraged. I can't get a hold of a certain set. And yet they've done some tokens which you might need, and suddenly that's completely different. And everybody's getting is amusing.
I agree
in itself.
And the tokens themselves, to start with, it was, I think people just annoyed that they thought they were going to have to buy tokens for a game when they would already when they were already buying the game and so on. And it was just a mistake from GW's part. Maybe there's a little bit where they thought we won't mention these because then when it all comes out in pre-order, people will buy the game and they'll buy the tokens at the same time. But I think for the most part it was just an honest mistake on GW's part. I think
it's just an oversight.
Yeah, I think so.
It's really odd that they went on about how many glory tokens they were and forgot how and didn't mention that the wound tokens were now double-sided. But I think it was an oversight. I mean, the markup, the extra money they would make from that is next to nothing compared with the flack they got for it. So I agree.
And just a quick one to say to everybody out there watching in YouTube land, do let us know if you notice anything weird going on. Obviously, the audio video is going to possibly be a bit out of sync because, like I say, running this on a 264. But if anything seems to go wrong, we seem to disappear online or anything like that, do just chuck a comment up and we will address it as quick as possible. Because you don't get very much feedback when you're doing this, unless you just keep an eye on things that are going on, which when we're busy wittering we might miss. So we'll crash on. So Token Gate is done. It was just a mistake. There we go. Harmless mistake. Moving on. So I think first thing we could probably go through is the list of new things or differences we know about in Beastgrave compared to Nightfall.
Okay, go on then.
Alright, so the first one I've got up here, which I think is quite an interesting one, for me anyway. Going on guard means no knockback.
Knockback, yeah, I think that's no drive back, and therefore by extension no knockback. Yep. So I think there was a brief moment where I wondered whether knockback would have the rules as well, so that you could actually knock back to sort of differentiate from drive back. So if somebody was on guard, they couldn't be driven back, but they could be knocked back. But there is no such differentiation. From assume they're going to be the same, but basically you can't. If you're on guard, you can't be driven back or knocked back, which does have a knock-on effect. A drive-back effect, I think. Certainly, it's good for I think control players and objective-grabbing players. And actually, if you've got some good guard possibilities, ploys and such like, it's going to be quite hard to shift people off of objectives.
I agree, yeah, and maybe that's good in some ways. It means that people are they're gonna start playing objective games again, and we've already seen a few cards in Defiant, and I think there's a few more that I've seen already popped up for Beastgrave as well, where they seem to be playing to objective-based warband, or at least objective-based deck strengths again, which to me is just marvellous to see, because I've always wanted that game to come back into it.
Yeah, I think so. I think John Bracken said when we went to the Grand Clash and they had that little wash-up thing afterwards, John Bracken said that it's quite hard to write good control cards.
Yeah.
By players guards that you can use to control the game or your opponent, and I think they've, from what we've seen so far, these spoilers and what have you, it looks like they've made a good fist at doing that, and I'm quite excited by. I know you're excited more by the Beastmen. I'm quite excited by the Elf cards. That I think they are sort of got some movement shenanigans and things. I'm looking forward to playing them and maybe getting away from that kind of hack and slash score immediately meta that had evolved.
There has been of late a very strong instant glory train going on, and it was getting a bit dull for me. I mean, I think we got a bit overwhelmed with the Grand Clash and prepping for that as well, but it just got definitely a bit dull. So it's good to see that guard means no more knockback. Great for objective-based bands, warbands, objective-based decks, and also mixed deck approaches. So hopefully that's something that'll be good to see coming along. Another difference here, we've obviously seen there's a lot more keywords, which is brilliant. Like that a lot, and that makes the cards.
Yeah, we saw that.
No, go on after you.
I was going to say, we saw that coming in with Dreadfade, and I was expecting it to be extended, and it definitely looks like it is being extended. So that's really good.
It does make some of the words
makes it much easier,
much more wordy. Some of the words, it does make some of the cards much more wordy. Someone was pointing out that
that's quite
confusion
funny.
Is now so much more wordy than it used to be. But at the same time, it's nice and simple to read and broken down into steps with the keywords. So it just makes it easier overall. And
yeah, I'm not sure it's simple to read. Sometimes you have to pass them a couple of times, but it doesn't allow any room for manoeuvre, which is the problem.
Yeah, there's no room for error. Although I think in one of our Dreadfane games, we were looking at one of the Dreadfane cards and we did still manage to get it wrong. But that
we did. Well, that's more of a misinterpretation.
So yeah.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. I suppose, but at the end of the day, that there is only, when you actually read the text properly, it's a bit like legal text, I think. I mean, nobody wants to sit and read that really for fun, do they? But actually, there is interpretation of it, or there should only be one interpretation of it. That's what they're trying to get to.
Yeah. So I think the other good thing about that. No, not about that. The next thing I was going to cover, now that we've got keywords, is ore-based objectives, which I really like the idea of ore-based. So you can have this or that.
I see.
So you can have not unprocessed ore, or unprocessed metal rather. Ore-based, as in you can either you score this if 3 people are out of action, or you're standing on 3 objectives at the end of a round. That kind of thing.
That is really nice cards to see. Actually, it means you've got, even at the last minute, you could suddenly, if one aspect of your plan has gone belly up, right, you missed with your first 2 attacks or something, then you've still got a chance with a couple of ploys maybe to actually swing it round and pull some objectives out of the hat. I think that's really nice and really good for the game.
It really does give you that option to switch things around, and in a best of 3, it also means that your opponent doesn't necessarily know what you're going to be doing. Because in the first time round you can use it to kill people, and the second time round you can use it maybe to grab some objectives or do one of the other option on there. So it keeps your opponent guessing as well in best of threes and keeps the games a bit more interesting.
Yes, it'd be interesting to see how easy it is to build decks to kind of accommodate both aspects of those kind of hybrid objectives, whether you're all largely going to be gunning for one and maybe the others are just a reserve, perhaps. But it's quite a sort of interesting way almost of having 13 objectives. Okay, you can only score 12, but you've actually got an extra sort of free one in there. Like you say, when things aren't going to your plan, you might be able to change your plan, which I suppose is it's going to help flex play as well. And again, that moves away slightly from all-out aggro.
Yeah,
has been the best way to play.
So another point that we both noticed, which is there are no 3-model warbands in the box. It's 5 and 6, I think, which is a nice difference to see. No Stormcast first thing in the box. Yeah,
no Stormcast is I think a welcome change. I don't think anybody would be disappointed that there aren't more Stormcast in there. And I think it's interesting. I hadn't really noticed. I hadn't really paid attention, and that's probably my fault. But actually, how many models there were going to be in both warbands, and it's quite a nice chunky number, 6 and 5. I think.
Yeah, there's enough models there to keep it different, give you the opportunity to maybe lose a few models without being completely destructive to your target or your gameplay, and just gives you a little bit more versatility there. Whereas when you were Stormcast, it was like you lose somebody to a lucky roll or something, or an unlucky roll, and you were in trouble at that point, really.
Yeah. Just going back to the objectives I've written down on my piece of paper, there's that card that does instant objective grabbing. So basically you can activate, if you're at the end of your activation, you're on 3 hexes, 3 objectives, you can immediately score it. That's really nice. Again, that helps objective play.
Yes, yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing all these instant scores when you're standing on X amount of objectives kind of glory coming out, and that's just going to make... I don't think it'll make warbands go into turtling mode, because there's still glory to be made there from killing people, although hopefully not too glory for killing somebody like in Dreadfane. I really hope that doesn't come across. But
VJ said, link to these spoilers in one of the Facebook groups. Basically Games Workshop have put the cards up on their deck builder, but they put them, they've hidden them, but they're there, but you can't see them. But somebody's managed to crack the URL. Probably isn't very difficult. It's probably not like, didn't need an Enigma machine or anything to do it, but you can now basically they've ripped a load of cards off, so now you can see them on Facebook. I can't remember the guy who shared them.
In a couple of the groups on there, they've been bouncing around a lot of different places. They're on Reddit as well now already.
Are they?
I don't know whether I should post a link to one of the cards or not. Might get told off if we do that. So but if you go to the GW deck building page and you right click on one of the cards and you inspect it, if you're in Chrome, that kind of thing, if you can do that much, then you can see the URL of the card, and then you can pretty much edit that path to come up with the other card URLs. So hopefully, I think... Or
you could just roll 2 spell dice and hope you come up crits. I think that's probably that. That's how I'd do it.
One of the card forums, or one of the online card groups, a bit like Underworlds DB or yet another Underworlds DB, all of those ones, and one of them does have the cards up, so you can have a snoot around on Reddit or Facebook and that, and hopefully you'll find them.
Yeah, it's probably not Underworld. He normally plays it by the book.
No, true. He does keep it safe, but it does mean hopefully they'll be there bang day one, because they're already online ready.
Yeah, hopefully, because they have been a bit tardy sometimes on updating that, which is, they've got other things to do maybe, but
possibly.
Us Underworlds players, we want our information as soon as we can get it.
Need it. And most of the other stuff we're getting from this is from the video that they released, either the video that has Becca Scott in that we watched and stole screenshots of cards out of, or just the description that she's given during the game, the playthrough. Because it's a long old video. It's about 25 minutes, that video.
Yeah, she's not everybody's taste, but actually it does give a very good overview of how to play, and I think it's quite. Yeah. It's better than the Nightbolt one. I said I think they've learned a little
bit. And there were some mistakes in that as well, where, I mean, obviously it's not her fault, and I've mentioned this online. Someone pointed out it's not her fault. She's just reading a script, and yeah, I agree. It was the people who wrote the script and the videos who completely missed it. But there were some glaring rules errors in that, but this time around I thought
Yeah,
it was
who'd
fine.
do
No
that?
one.
Who'd make videos
No
with
one.
glaring rules
Look,
errors
they're
in
making a lot more money than us,
amateurs.
right? That's why we make errors. I still don't like the whole talking like this. I'm going to talk off over here. I'm going to look over in this direction. I'm going to explain some of the stuff to you.
No, I haven't got that, but I think that must be what young people like.
Yeah, any young viewers out there,
I use just stare at the camera.
any young viewers out there, do let us know. Is that the kind of thing you guys like? I mean, it's Becca Scott, so that's probably the kind of thing most guys like. But anyway, moving on. I do also like the fact that you will place lethal hexes at the start as well now. Once you place objectives, both parties place a lethal hex as well, which I really like, and I think we might have called in a live video a few weeks ago. We suggested that maybe something like that would be funky, and I think that's come up. So yeah, called it. Boom. It's a win for me.
We said enough things that at least some of them had to come through.
Yeah, if you throw enough poop at the wall, some of it will stick.
Yep. Still trying to clean it off.
VJ Morphs also said, can you use the same method to dig up any images of the 2 remaining Warcry warbands? That's a good idea. Yeah, worth a shot. If you do find anything, let us know.
Yeah.
So I like the fact that you can place lethal hexes as well as placing objectives. And also there's going to be this mechanic where you can... objective counters can become lethal hexes. Yeah.
That's quite an interesting one. And again, I think that plays into this kind of trying to give control player a bit of a run.
Yeah.
You can put lethal hexes in positions that are going to be difficult for your opponent to get to you, or they're going to, or dangerous for them if they do come to you, which is quite nice. And similarly, converting the lethal hexes to the objectives to lethal hexes again changes things up. I actually think it's interesting. Yeah. And they haven't clarified, and I guess it will come clear in the rules. I'm assuming that converting a objective to a lethal hex isn't destroying it, but it's not. There are those objectives. Sorcerer's Scour, is it Sorcerer's Scouring or whichever one? It's not Sorcerer's Scouring, but whatever it's called. Cabassos Unmaking. I wonder whether they will. And Pang, no, there's a Ilthari one as well, isn't there? I wonder whether that will destroy them, will just take them out completely, or whether they're going to change that rule. I suspect destroying them will take them out completely, and flipping them isn't destroying them, but we won't know.
We won't know until we get that book in our sweaty little hands, which we are still
waiting for.
Know yeah, hopefully we are.
Yeah.
Now, there's another thing that's come along, which is this hunter quarry keyword thing that's being mentioned, which is I'm quite enthralled by what that's going to mean, and we've seen that there is a card.
That's top of my page. Top of my page is hunter mechanic.
So there's something.
I think I'm. Sorry.
Go on. You've got it on your page.
I was going to say, I think the hunter mechanic is going to be their new. It's almost like magic, if you know what I mean. That's like the new thing. Because I thought it was just going to be for one of the warbands, or maybe a couple of the warbands, but it looks like that you can add. I think there was a universal card that you could add the hunter keyword to them, I believe, and so it looks like it's going to be across the board.
Yes, there's definitely, and that's good because it's a generic objective, not objective. It's a generic upgrade, a universal upgrade that everybody can take. So you'll be able to, even if you're a season 1 warband, you'll be able to take advantage of that. And I think it might help in limiting, because we've already seen a copy of Trap in the new version, but it's only usable by hunters. So I think it'll help reduce maybe the abuse of some of the more powerful cards to an extent, and possibly.
I'm just trying to think now whether I've misremembered, and it just says hunter at the bottom, meaning it can be assigned to hunters.
What, the Trap?
But is it? I can't remember.
The card is called.
There was Caltrops.
No, Caltrops is a different one. Caltrops is one I think can be used by hunters. In fact, I've got it here. Caltrops says, if my machine can wake up, it says it's a reaction, and that's it. So that Caltrops has nothing to do with it, but there is another one which let me just dig through. I'll see if I can find it. Snare is the one that could be used by hunters. So that's a reaction which is placed during a friendly hunter's attack action. After it drives back an enemy fighter, the enemy fighter is dealt 1 damage. So there's still definitely a limit on using it, despite the fact that it is Trap with a different name. Yeah,
I'm sure I saw a card earlier, and I can't remember what it was called, unfortunately, that you could either give somebody the hunter keyword, or it was a universal card that could be applied to anybody with the hunter keyword, which would supply that.
There is a universal card that gives people the hunter keyword, I believe.
So that'd be quite cool.
Yeah, just say there's one called Marked, which is choose a fighter. They are a quarry. This persists until the fighter is taken out of action, so you can make somebody a quarry. Just seeing if I can find the hunter one. I can't find it right now, so maybe.
Morph said something controversial.
What's he said?
He said the list of paints. So frankly, I'll only grab the orcs. This is the perfect time, Pete, for you to say what the most interesting faction is for you. I know you've been.
To have Nurgle.
He is super excited.
Really excited by them. Sorry, VJ, they may not be your cup of tea, but I think one of the things when we first got back into AS a while ago was the Blight Kings of Nurgle, and I've always loved those models and never had a chance to use them in any way in anything. So to see the fact that we're going to be able to get what looks like some Blight Kings in AOS, in Underworlds, it just really made me happy.
Yeah, I think we're probably both going to.
We may have to both paint a warband. There may be one of the few warbands we have two painted versions of, just so we can both play them. There are our own painted version of them. So that's another thing we can talk about right now. We've got the hunter and quarry thing out of the way, in that we don't know exactly how that's going to work yet, but it does look like you should be able to upgrade people, make them hunters or make them quarry, and that hopefully they're using cards to limit, that they're using those keywords to limit the effectiveness of some cards, which hopefully means less on the bar list if we're lucky. But what that does mean, coming on to the next thing, which is the list.
Sorry, Timothy's just said Blight Kings. What? I hope they add Idoneth. There was a card came out today, one of these ones that was spoiled. It was great strength, I think. Had a big fat Blight King on it. It did have
a Blight King. There's definitely a Blight King on there. Now, this is a good point to talk about what warbands we know and what warbands we think are coming out. So we know there are Beastmen and we know there are Beast Elves. I'm not sure what I think they're called, Kurnoth something or other. No, they're not Kurnoth Hunters. That's those big tree men things. I can't remember the name of them. Any guess on how a gob on a dog is going to be equal to a stormcast? I'm not sure.
Is that like one of those Facebook math problems with like bunches of bananas and cherries and you have to like equals 15?
Yeah. More of a Nurgle Demons band built 20 plague bearers in 60 minutes, VJ says. Well, that's pretty good going anyway.
Well.
But so we know there's going to be beast men and we know there's going to be beast elves. We also are pretty certain, well, we know for a fact there's going to be wolf riders. So the Wolf Boys coming out.
That's like, I think I said on Patreon that's gone right back to my very beginning days of Games Workshop.
Who doesn't have some Wolf Riders with the old sword and shield, hold them up.
Yeah.
But we also know, as well as that, there's probably going to be Ogres, which I'm quite excited to see an Ogre model. Some kind of Ogre hunter with a cat running around with him.
I've never liked ogres. Just funny, isn't it? How like VJ says it's different things for different people in one of the comments here. But yeah, I've never liked ogres from the very beginning.
There's also possibly going to be Daughters of Cain. One of the cards looks like a Daughters of Cain character getting slapped in the face, I think, by something with a big axe. So maybe that one's going to be another warband coming out. There's also going to be, and I had written all these down somewhere and can't find them all now. So Daughters of Cain, Ogres, Beastmen, Elves, Nurgle. Pretty certain about Nurgle.
Some more Iron Jaws, was there?
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be Iron Jaws or whether, I think somebody mentioned there might be something slightly different, like Iron Jaw Brutes or something like that.
Bronze Jaws. Bronze Jaws. Steel Jaws.
Thank you very much. Okay. And so I can't remember how many we've got now. Beast Men, Beast Elves, Goblins, Ogres, Nurgle, Daughters of Cain, Orcs. So that's 7.
Yeah. Flesh Eater Courts. I think there's some pictures of
Flesh Eater Courts, that's it, yes. And Flesh Eater Courts. We're pretty certain that those are going to be the all the different options in there. VJ.
So that's no Stormcast. There's no room for Stormcast in there.
No Golden Boys this time around, which will be interesting. There's going to be a few big warbands because I suspect that the Nurgle will be 3 characters, and I suspect the Ogre will just be 2. So we're going to have, and then I think an Ogre, because you think you had Mollog. He was pretty big, so I think a troll or an ogre, will be about the same level, but he'll have a more
and something else with it.
It'll be some kind of hunting cat thing, I think.
Oh, okay.
So they've got those. I can't remember what they're called, but they've got these big beast things that they run around with them. So I think that that'll be a 2-member warband.
VJ says he thinks the Orcs will be bone splitters, as they'll probably do new minis for them when they get a new battle tome.
Yep, could be. Although one of the pictures does show just a regular sort of brute type bloke. In yellow armour, so whether they're going to do a mix and maybe they have like a few of each or something like that, who knows?
Yeah. Dwayne says, do you think the guys will rework some of the Shadespire warbands? I think we have talked about this in the past. I'm pretty sure they're not going to. John Bracken again said he didn't think they, basically that they're always going to be not reinvented, they're always going to be inventing new stuff and probably not revisiting old stuff. They'd like to, but there's less money in it. So they're not going to.
Why reinvent or come up with new cards for Scritches guys when you can just create a whole new Skane warband with great new big explosive things in it. Who knows?
VJ says he thinks his list had one unspoiled. It'll probably be Stormcast. Probably. Surely there's got to be some dogs.
Beastmen,
not dogs, some Griffhounds.
Beastmen, Beast-Elves,
whatever they are.
Ogres, Wolf Riders. There's going to be Nurgle. There's going to be probably Daughters of Cain. There's going to be Flesh Eater's Court. And there's going to be Orcs. That is 8.
Orcs. 8. Wow. Though the Stormcast, the Condemners, aren't they? They're going to be separate.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're going to be separate. That the cards, there is a total of. Got a card here just to see the total. We know that the cards are totals of 438 cards in the pack, so there's not enough room in there for releasing like the Dreadfane warbands tool.
No, that's I haven't actually done the maths, but that's what I've heard.
Somebody's already done it, so I've only gone by what they've said, but I'm pretty certain of that one.
Okay, got a couple of questions here. There's one about magic. I might leave that till the end, and then one from Rupert. Hello, Rupert. Talking of the money thing, do you think they are releasing things too fast? It's put me off getting things simply because of the mad release schedule. I think it's difficult. I think it is, but I think it is for mortals. I mean, there are a few people who live, breathe GW, and it's fine for them. But I find it difficult to keep up, especially if you want to play any other game. If you want to play Warcry as well, then you're basically screwed. The only way you could do that is to set up your own YouTube channel and get people who are lovely enough to sponsor you to do it. I wouldn't have any other way of doing it if I was doing it off my own back.
Even doing that, we still struggle having one guaranteed day a week to get together and play some games to do more than what we do now, and we're already at the very edge of our sort of capacity.
I was only talking about acquiring the stuff. I wasn't talking about playing with it.
God.
Even acquiring it's almost a full-time job.
That is true. I mean, you need a full-time job just to be able to afford it all, let alone having the time to actually assemble it and paint it and play with it. It's just insane.
So yes, I think it is a little bit quick. I do understand why they want annual cycles, though.
Yeah.
Personally, I would happily if they didn't do any board packs or the extra deck of cards. I'll be happy to do that,
though, aren't they? It'll be some like Beasts of Gur or something like that. It'll be cool.
It'll be interesting. I've just had a thought. I don't know whether anybody's done any counting numbers of cards. Last time they had an Echoes of Glory pack to bring in Severin and Garrick into Night to get some extra cards. There's another thing that we were going to talk about, I think. But in Beastgrave, there's going to be 32 faction-specific cards. So every faction basically box.
Yes, that was another thing on my list I haven't got to yet. So
which is a really big thing, and I think a really good thing. We'll put a bit more detail in a second. But if they do that with the Nightfall warbands, they'll have to either put in new cards in the Echoes of Glory equivalent, or not do it. In which case they'll be different to the rest.
Yeah,
that has.
Yeah, and I don't know what they're going to do with the two warbands from Nightfall, but Dreadfane does come in at 120 cards or something like that. So does that mean I think they're actually going to release a Dreadfane pack? So you'll have the two Dreadfane warbands, each one will have a total of 60 cards in, and if you already have Dreadfane, you'll just be able to buy a 60 card pack, or it won't be a 60 card pack, it'll be a 56 card pack. So that's how they'll handle Dreadfane, but I don't know what they're going to do with the two bands from Nightfall.
No, I don't. I'd be interested to see. I'm assuming there'll be an Echoes of Glory style pack, or I had assumed, so I haven't done the maths. But if they've changed the warband makeup between the two seasons, then there's going to be a discrepancy there.
Yeah, and moving on with the changing the warbands with to 32 cards, we might as well hit that one whilst we're about
it.
I really love the idea of that. I mean, they might not be optimal decks, but it does mean that you can just pick up your Warband specific deck and play with it.
Yeah, I think it's brilliant. I think it makes sense, and it does going to depend a little bit on whether they're balanced or not between the faction cards. But it means you could have a second style of tournament, which is basically you can only play the faction cards.
Yeah.
From Beastgrave onwards, and I think that is a different skill, not a different skill, but it takes out the deck building skill, and there's to an extent. Although I quite enjoy deck building, to an extent I don't like it because it's preparation at home. It's preparation at home, and it's a little bit pay to win because if somebody who's got all the cards is going to have an advantage over somebody who can't afford all the cards or doesn't want to buy all the cards for whatever reason. You bring your faction and you play, and you're kind of as equals. All you need is one faction. You don't even need the core box, although you do need some boards. But you can just play, and I really like that as long as they're balanced. And that's a hard thing to do. And I think they've always made the balance in the universal cards, or tried to make the balance in the universal cards, because that's easier, because that works across everybody. And it's much harder to balance factions against one another, because you've got to do 8 and then you've got to do 16. And if one is found to be more powerful than the other, it's quite hard to redress the balance. But I really hope that they do. I'd love to play. I'd love the game to have evolve a version of Warband and no other extra universals.
Yeah, I think some Warbands would obviously benefit much more in that situation than others. But at the same time, it means there's a bit more glory in it for winning with the Sepulchral Guard, the equivalent of that kind of thing, Well,
I think you probably have to. Those style of tournaments would just have to be not. Although maybe with the extra card packs, like the leaders pack, you could maybe get extra. The Sepulchral Guard cards might give you enough. I think you'd have to make those tournaments just Beastgrave onwards.
Yeah, probably.
I think,
or including Dreadfane. So, the only other thing I could think of from all the release stuff about Beastgrave that they released that I had comment on was I really like the little lethal hexes they've done. The little pack of like 6 modelled lethal hexes. Brilliant idea. Some of them look fantastic. Unfortunately, they're really stupid because you can't actually sit a model on them. So they just get in the way. So every time you want to actually push a model back into a square or something like that where they've got to stand there, you've got to keep taking that off. They should have made them all much flatter sort of discs, I think.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, or just man traps.
Yeah.
Closed range figure. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I haven't looked at them in that depth. I don't find that aspect of it that interesting. You see what I mean? I was going to look at them and thought, well, we probably won't get those because they kind of get in the way when we're recording.
Yeah.
So I haven't really looked at them at all. I know you've mentioned it more than once, so it must be very important to you.
Well, I like having a little bit of terrain on the board. It makes it feel a little bit more tabletop wargamey than just board game, but it is a board game. But I just I
know Rupert. I knew Rupert would comment. Rupert's coming, still working on that other stuff in the last few months. I know Rupert loves his scenery.
Yeah. I mean, I do love the scenery we've got, especially some of it is painted superbly. Obviously not the stuff I did. And I do like them. I just really wish they'd made the lethal hexes flatter like the Night Vault version, where one lethal hex is nice and flat and you can sit a model on it and it works perfectly, and then the other one is that burning dish with the green smoke coming off it. You're like, awesome, how do I stand something on that now? I've just got to move it off. And it's annoying because it's like, surely you guys designing this stuff play the game, so you must know what gets in the way and what doesn't. So, oh well.
Yeah.
But never mind.
So Jeff says, sorry, not Jeff. Jeff has said something. I'll come back to that. There's somebody asked about magic. I've forgotten who it was. I feel like it was Zach. Zach Matthews. Matthew will go stronger. And that kind of ties into the thing I wanted to say, because we've been looking at the Beast spoilers, and he's a level 1 wizard, and I have to say, that warband looks a bit like Godsworn Hunt regarding magic, in that I would never take any magic cards with he's one of their main fighters, and he hasn't got his own spell attack.
Yeah, he's not bad. He's got no spell attack. He's not as wimpy as Thedra.
He's not, but he's still one dodge.
Yeah, he is only one dodge.
He's one dodge and one extra. He's got one extra wound, which with this extra lethal hexes to go around is probably nothing. So I just kind of feel like it's too many eggs in one basket. It's just the basket isn't strong enough to put any eggs in it. That's my my feeling.
The basket is made of lies.
Yeah, so I'm not sure. It's hard to tell. I think there will be some magic-y stuff going on, and I think at the end of season 2, the balance was quite good on the magic. I think they kind of got it about right.
I think it was a little bit abused by some warbands, like Curse Breakers.
Yeah,
but overall, I think it wasn't too bad.
No, well, they suffered in the end, I think. Anyway, but they didn't suffer, but they brought it under control by banning or restricting.
We already know there's going to be at least a couple of warbands that aren't going to have casters in this version, because the Wolf Riders didn't have a caster of any shape, and I'm fairly certain that the Orcs probably won't have a caster. We've not seen any kind of casty or Orc stuff. I could be wrong on that one, but yeah, and.
Be quite cool.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, they are in the bone splitters. There's the guy with the two sort of big, the bones with their faces sort of glowing on them. So maybe, possibly.
Okay.
Anonymous Jeff has asked, getting miles ahead of ourselves, but it'd be interesting to see how warbands who use mechanics like magic and hunters cope when their seasons cycle out. I think that things like magic and the hunter stuff are probably here to stay. I don't think we're ever going to see magic disappear now.
No, I don't think so.
I think hunters and quarry are probably here to stay as well. I don't think we're ever going to see either of those disappear, and that does make me worry that later seasons will feel the pressure to keep adding more extra things into it. And so we had magic, we had hunters and quarry, and then what's going to come next after that? There'll be leaders and subordinates, and I don't know what else. So.
That's always the way. I think any game that has seasons has to have something new to it. I think that's inevitable.
Could be. Anthony Tittenser says, "I'm actually Anne Stream. Your stream where we can join and become a river." Hello, Anthony. Thank you for joining us. And Jason says the bone splitters will have a shaman. It's possibly they might do. I reckon we'll see.
I'm going to go with. I'm with you, Jason. Pete doesn't know what he's talking about.
We definitely know the Wolf Riders and the Ogres won't have casters, so that's going to be 2 warbands. So maybe those are going to be the 2 that don't have anything in.
It feels like it would dilute the universals if they're supporting multiple mechanics. Yeah, I think you're right, Jeff. I think they probably will. It's an interesting one. Maybe they will fade them out. I feel like magic is here to stay. The hunter prey thing, I could see perhaps could cycle out, but I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah, you could be right, Rob, and Jeff. I do think if they keep adding stuff, it is going to start to impact the whole. Just how many universal cards you have, because they'll be universal, but this one will only be used by these people, this one will only be used by those people, and you do have that risk of doing that. But it does mean as well that the less people who can use a card, the less chance it has of being abused and ending up on a bar list. So
that's true. That's true.
Who knows? So another thing we saw, obviously another spoiler on the Saturday, was the wolves, the Wolf Riders, the 3 gobos. Now I'm quite interested to see what these guys are going to be like, because they're the first sort of.
I just asked, did anybody see that coming?
No, I did not. Yeah,
that was for me. I think somebody talked about somebody having spiders.
Yeah,
and them on spiders, which would be quite cool.
Yeah,
perhaps a little bit disappointed they haven't, but I think I definitely didn't see Wolf Riders coming.
No, I did not at all. And I'm quite interested to see what's going to happen with them. I mean, we knew we had a centaur elf thing, with the elves. We'd already seen that, but to have a whole mounted warband, I'm quite interested to see what happens with that. And that was next on my list actually. Is what are the Wolf Riders going to be like? Are they going to have the ability to attack twice when they activate?
Once for the wolf, once for the gobbo.
Yeah, I mean, one of the goblins has got a bow, so maybe the wolf can bite one thing and the goblin could shoot something else, maybe?
Ooh, tasty.
So, I mean, they're going to have at least
like
sort of like 4 wounds, I would have thought, because they're mounted on a ruddy great wolf.
I think they've got to. I mean, all of the other, there aren't very. All this, they're all Stormcast, aren't they? The other 3-person warbands, and they've all got 4. They've all got 12 wounds.
Yeah.
So I think they've probably got to have at least 4 each.
Now, what other stats are they going to have? Are they going to have 2 dodges, or are they going to be a shield, or are they going to be? I can't even guess what they're going to be like.
No, I can't really. Yeah, I don't know.
Would be a brilliant mechanic for them. Is when you kill them, the goblin dies and the wolf becomes like a rabid animal and could attack other things around it, like friend or foe or something like that. I think that'd be brilliant, but I don't think it'll happen.
No, my guess is 2 attacks or a hit and run, attack then
That'd
move.
be quite cool.
I like it.
Or some kind of ability where after an attack action they can be pushed 1 hex, something like that. Maybe.
Yeah. That's what Jason's just said. Are they likely to take up 2 hexes? The Centaur has an oval base. Yes, I noticed that the Centaur has an oval base. That's an interesting one. That'll change things up actually. If you've got starting to have creatures with 2 hexes in, with all those lethal hexes as well, it's going to get crowded in there.
Yeah, I'm not convinced they'll take up 2 hexes. I think some of the Becca Scott demos show it sitting in the middle of the hex, so I think they're only going to be 1 hex sized. Because I think the shade glass gargant or whatever it was called, that took up 2 hexes, but that was a giant.
Yeah, that was very big.
Only took up 1 hex,
That's
so
true.
I think it's only going to be 1 hex. Although introducing multiple hex creatures into the game could be quite funky, because they did with the gargant.
So Pete's put his money on it only being 1 hex, which means it'll almost certainly be 2.
Probably 3 now, because what do we know?
Malachi has said that they have shields on he's expecting them to be shields because they have shields on the minis. I think that would make sense.
True. Yeah. So we've covered a lot of the spoilers that have come out. We've not gone through specific cards, only because they're probably not meant to be out yet, and we don't want to annoy anybody by showing them off. But we have seen the Warband. They have released the Warband this afternoon, along with a how-to video to assembling the Warband, which seems a little bit.
Was it? I didn't see that.
It's done by Duncan. Duncan is showing you how to put together push-fit models.
Okay, cool.
Seems a bit over the top.
Does he show you how not to get massive gaps between them?
I haven't actually watched very much of it. I started to watch it and I realised, no, these are still push-fit models. This is ridiculous. I'm not watching this video, so I kind of tuned out.
Okay, fair enough.
But there is a summary of the Warband, so I figured we could quickly go through the Warband itself. There's 6 models on there. I'm not massively sold on some of the models. Some of them look a bit there for my liking.
They are beastmen.
They are beastmen, that's true. They're never going to...
You wouldn't want to take one out a day, would you?
Pin up. Well, no, I married one, but...
That's going to come back to haunt you.
So we've got Grashrak Fellhoof. Now Fellhoof, this is something that's always made me think it sounds silly in Games Workshop games, and I can suspend my disbelief of most things. But he's called Fellhoof. Now he's got a hoof. That's just his foot. So that's a bit like calling somebody, Jonathan Evilfoot. It's just a really weird name to call yourself. It's just strange. But anyway, I digress. So we've got Grashrak. He's pretty good. He's got 2 hammers, 2 damage. He gets cleave when he's inspired, but that's it. That's all he gets when he inspires.
Yeah.
He's got 4 move, 1 dodge, 4 wounds. But he just gets a cleave when he inspires. Pretty naff.
Told you he's Thedra.
Yeah. He's got his reaction, which is during a friendly fighter's attack action before the attack roll. You can remove a ritual counter from his card. And if you do, you can reroll one of the attack dice, which is quite nice. And it's
pretty nifty.
Yeah, and he gets whenever an enemy fighter is taken out of action, you can put a ritual counter on this card, so you get rewarded for killing people off. But they only
they've got a tough inspire condition, haven't they?
So they only inspire if 2 or more friendly fighters are out of action.
But if you're playing Stormcast, you've got to be thinking, "Oh my god!"
I mean, that's got to be
because
one of the toughest inspire mechanics so far for a warband, I think.
I think so, because you've only got, and they need to use your ritual. You won't get to use your ritual very much until because you have to take if you're playing the Stormcast.
Yeah.
So that's hard.
Yeah.
They feel like it feels like an evil matchup for them already.
Anthony has just mentioned that the cap from the elves has quite a long gap down its back from the promo pick, and yeah, the promo pick is really bad. There's a massive gap down the spine of the cat.
Oh,
so
okay.
whoever stuck them together did not pay attention at all to what they were doing before they took those pictures. And you just look at it going, wow, even I could probably put that together better than they've done in that picture.
I'm terrible at putting together. If Games Workshop models came put together, I'd be a happy man. I hate doing it.
They used to. Just they were like that.
They were lead, yeah.
Yeah, that was the problem. The most dramatic thing they could do is this.
I can't... I see.
that was about it. They just sort of had their hands up at their ear. So anyway, that's Grashrak. He's pretty blur. Then there's Draknar, who again he's a 2 hammer 2 damage. Two hammer 3 damage attack, and when he inspires, it turns into 3 swords 3 damage. So
yeah, 3 swords 3 damage. If you get some extra hit dice off, then you're starting attack dice off, then you're 4 or 5 swords starting to look pretty tasty.
And he does gain cleave as well, which is a bonus. He doesn't have any special mechanics about him at all. He's 4 move, 1 shield, 3 wounds throughout, and that's it. So the only thing he gains when he inspires is cleave, and his attack changes from 2 hammers to 3 swords. So, yeah, not bad. Still nothing here making me go wow. And the same inspire mechanic there. There's then the little guys. There's Noel the Hunter, who is pretty average. He's got like a 2 sword 1 damage attack, turns into a 3 sword 1 damage attack when inspired. He's got a ranged bow doing 1 damage. And the other guy is pretty much the same. I think his ranged attack gains in snare once he inspires, which we know is now the new mechanic for cleave, but for dodging.
Yeah, they have got ranged attacks, haven't they? But they're
do.
only 2 swords.
Yeah, 2 swords or 3 swords.
A bit
inspired,
naff.
so
you can't even score branching fate. You can score a warning shot. Yeah.
And then the last
T-Troll says, greetings from Germany. I think Beastgrave will be amazing. I think I agree with you, actually. I haven't we last week that we were a bit, certainly I was a bit kind of Shadespired out or Underworlded out, but the Beastgrave reveals and some of the new rule stuff really got us excited again. Yes. So it's really good. So I think Beastgrave will be amazing too.
I think comically and quickly say Guten Tag, T-Troll. My son's learning German at school, so we're doing lots of this at the moment. Yeah, I agree with Robin. I think I'm much more energised for this game now I've seen what's coming in Beastgrave, and I think oddly I'm more energised now that I know that Shadespire cards are being cycled out.
Yeah,
because
I think we touched on that last week, didn't we? But I think that the uncertainty was bad, and also it just refreshed the whole thing in one fell swoop.
Yes, so I'm just reading Noel the Hunter. Neil the Hunter. Is there Gary the Plumber and Steve the Council Worker? Yes, and there's John the Electrician as well. He has the special ability of costing you an absolute fortune to change a light bulb.
They go
like
that. You just know it's going to hit you hard in the wallet.
I think when we were discussing what they could do with the Shadespire cards and if they were going to cycle them out and when should they cycle them out, we were saying for ages, they can't really cycle them out at the start because they're not going to have enough cards available, and you're only going to have Nightvault's cards then. But after that discussion, I started to come around and actually started to think, I think they should just dump them at the start, cut down the chart, the set, and really give yourself less options and force you to pick other cards that you wouldn't have done before. And then they did that, and that actually made me quite happy. And I know there's a lot of people who are quite angry at the fact that they've lost all these cards, and I can see that as well because we did buy them, and now they're saying you can't use them, or at least in a tournament setting. But actually, I'm okay with that. I don't mind this cut down set.
No, I feel like it's only people are only moaning people who weren't going to buy Beastgrave anyway. So I think it's a moot point.
And also, there's nothing stopping.
T-Troll's giving you German lessons in the comments.
Gute Nacht. I keep trying to explain to my son that a lot of the words you can just say the English version of with a bit of a German accent, and they kind of sometimes work. So I don't know if he's going to try that with his teaching or not.
That's why Pete never goes abroad.
Yeah, that and the restraining order. So we were looking at the last few Beastmen, there's quite a cool one called Murgoth Half Horde. No, he's not the cool one. He's pretty rubbish as well. 4 move, 3 wounds, 1 dodge, 2 swords, 2 damage. So no real standouts here. There's nobody really exciting. The only one who's got anything quite interesting about him is Korshk the Sneak, which is if he's on an edge hex and he has no move token, you can place him to any other edge hex and give him a charge token. But once he's inspired, you give him a move token, not a charge token.
It's pretty nifty.
He also gains 1 dodge when he inspires, but otherwise he's 4 move, 2 wounds and 1 dodge. So he's easy to kill, but if you keep him in the backfield early on, wait till you can get inspired, and then he might be quite useful for a few different activities.
Yeah, it's sort of like a free hit inspired. It's good for shortcut.
Yep.
It's a bit of a shoe in for that warband. Although they have got some nice. Somebody's already alluded to that. They've got some quite nice. Anthony. They've got some nice. I'll get there in a minute. Faction specific cards that go with the warband to sort of beef them up.
And I think someone mentioned earlier on that the Beastman specific cards do seem to look a little bit better than the elf ones. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't had time to look at both sets side by side and get a feel.
I really like the elf ones. I haven't done a comparison side by side, but I really like the way the elf ones look. I like the one where you can get the javelin back.
Yes,
that's really nice. It's thematic. And the lion, there's one that boosts the lion, which is absolutely immense.
It gives them loads of extras.
It's like +1 attack, +1 defense, and +2 move.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Yeah. And
went out of focus there for a moment.
There's a really nice one where, I think it's because you lean forwards near the camera, so it was like, oh my god, he's getting closer.
Quick, go out of focus.
Quick, blur everything. Vaseline everywhere. Put it on all of the screen. There's a nice card where if you've just got it in your hand, if you kill somebody, you can apply the upgrade to the character, so you don't have to spend a glory on it, which I thought was quite a nice little function there as well. I think the elf ones do theme a bit more around mobility, but it'll be interesting to see. I'm liking the look of all the cards so far. Some of the artwork's a bit to be desired, but the actual text on a lot of them gives a lot of flavour, I think. Mm-hmm. And VJ says I'm on a Interpol watch list. Yes, so
he's on many watch lists.
Ungors are meant to be rubbish. That is true. They are meant to be rubbish, and they certainly fulfil that role. Hopefully, they're not too rubbish though. And the Beastman minis are nice. If you ever, VJ says that if you ever get a chance to paint them just for display, consider picking them up. They're okay. I think it's just because the Ungors look a bit weird, but they're meant to look a bit weird. I think the problem I have is the pose on one of them. He's got like a bow in one hand, and his other hand's just down to the side. It's like, what's he doing with that hand? I don't really understand. I don't know what's he got his hand out for. It would make more sense if he had his hand back, reaching for another arrow or something like that.
Yeah.
But other than that,
he's a beastman though. Maybe he doesn't know where they are.
Yeah, he's pretty thick. He's probably just going to throw the bow.
Right, it's 5 to 11, Pete.
Oh god, it's 5 to 11.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to have to call it there. We can't really run through the cards, but everyone can see the cards now. They're all online places.
The actual upgrade cards that they gave you in the piece, I didn't think were very interesting. They were kind of like +1 strength. I can't remember what the other ones were now off the top of my head, but I just remember looking at them thinking, well, they're fairly generic, really.
Well, one of them was trophy takers. That's just gaining glory when you kill someone. Sorcerer's Trick is re-roll a dice when casting a spell. Yeah,
that was quite interesting, but I dismissed it on the fact that I'd already decided that I wasn't ever going to play spells with the Beastmen.
Yeah, I certainly don't think I would either. So I do like some of their objectives, and the ones they give in the article are quite nice, which is score immediately after an activation if your warband holds 3 or more objectives. Which is very nice because it's like supremacy but an instant score, so people can't stop you, and it's 2 glory. And there's
Jeff says he's doing Ungor stuff. Deal with it. There you go. You've really got to get. If you're going to play this warband, you've really got to get into the mind of an Ungor.
Get into that mindset. So I'll just be bringing some spare poo to throw at people while I'm playing. One of the warband.
Perhaps we won't do that.
I like one of the warband cards, which is just you have to have friendly surviving fighters, and 5 or more fighters are out of action. Which Garrick has a copy of that, has a version of that, which is just 5 fighters out of action. You get 2 glory. I like that one.
Yeah.
So I think, guys.
Yeah, I agree, Jeff. It's good to see people excited about Underworlds. It's great. We've had up to 25, 26 people watching tonight, so that's really nice.
We've got to nearly 30, I think. We've got to about 28 at one point, I think. So everybody who's watching, spread the word. Do let all your friends know that they want to come along and watch this channel because we're funny and we cover some important topics and all that kind of stuff.
Just remember to bray annoyingly your opponent. Well, we've been doing that since day one.
On Detra, isn't it?
Somebody has asked, have we got a copy yet? And the answer to that is no. But we did get an email. But so you never know.
Now, we normally meet on a Wednesday to record, so we're really hoping that arrives tomorrow. And if it doesn't...
The email. Who knows?
If it doesn't, then maybe it might arrive and we might be able to meet up on Thursday instead. Because, I mean, even Thursday, though, I don't think we're going to have time to have any material ready for Saturday, which is when I think we can release stuff. So...
Yes. Yeah, that Saturday's the earliest we can release anything. So we'll have to see. But maybe we can do something. But it's going to be hard to do a full game before then if it doesn't arrive tomorrow. We'll see.
We'll do our best for all of you lovely people in YouTube land and all of our superb patroners who are watching online right now. Please do follow. If you're not following us, please do hit the like button and please do hit the notification button. Who's going to play who? I will be playing the Beastman.
I'm going to play Pete.
Yes.
Is that right?
I'm not sure that's what he meant.
Well, I think you guys probably know which one of us is going to play which warband. Do you, does anybody want to have a guess?
Well, I just said it.
Oh, did you? I missed that. I was talking over you.
Anybody who gets it wrong is just not paying
attention.
Shut up,
man.
Funny looking. We are funny looking. That is true. Yeah, I will probably be playing the Beastman because I'm just always going towards that sort of view. I tend to lean that way, and Robin's probably going to play the elves because
yes, he leans that way. Whereas I prefer my elf-like beauty. If you see my wife, you'll understand. You see, that's a much better thing to say about your wife, Pete. If you are going to mention it live,
camera, isn't she?
To literally tens of viewers.
So thank you for watching, guys. Do check out the description for ideas on if you want to support us in any way. If you're not on Patreon, do give it a look. I mean, some of our Patreon supporters are online now, and they think it's pretty good, so it might be worth a watch.
And they're all lovely.
Lovely people. And you'll get lots of little extras. You know, we do extra games on there that only our Patreon supporters get, and we don't put on YouTube, so maybe it's worth it if you want some extra stuff.
Hours and hours of outtakes.
Hours of outtakes.
Which are hilarious.
Well, they're hilarious to us anyway. I wonder if some people just watch them.
Yeah, I hope they're hilarious. It's difficult for us to be objective, but they make us laugh.
Yeah. I wonder if some people just watching them sometimes going, what are these cretins doing?
We could do the game with just the decks in the box. Well, that's probably what we would do, VJ. It's just whether we get it to Pete to edit it. I mean, we could do a rough edit.
I might try and do a rough edit without flashing the cards up and stuff, and just have a really bog standard basic couple of games where we just play a couple of the just the box stuff. Maybe we'll swap over, one of us will play Beastman and one play Elves, and then we'll swap over and do a game where we reverse it and just see how we get on with that.
It's going to arrive tomorrow, and then we record it tomorrow night, and then Pete can work. He can give up work for the rest of the week and sort it out. For us
to try and get some of the stuff.
Jeff isn't lovely. His wife said so.
That's the same thing my wife said. And on that note, I think we're going to have to call it there for tonight. We've covered the hour. We've had plenty to chat about.
Go us.
And hopefully, you are very welcome, T-Troll. Thank you for signing in. Hopefully you're a follower now. Hopefully you've signed up, you've given us a thumbs up and you're following, and you'll be here next time. We look forward to seeing you all online. Hopefully next Tuesday, same time.
Yep. Yes. See you then.
We'll see you soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Auf Wiedersehen.